Chapter 8. Strategic Questioning. To get to the root of the rot, you sometimes have to apply a stress test to the system. The bait question. This isn't an accusation, it's a hypothetical. For example, you suspect a friend or teammate has been taking credit for your ideas in meetings behind your back. Asking, "Are you stealing my ideas?" is too direct. They will simply get defensive and lie. Instead, try asking, "I was thinking about pitching that project strategy we discussed to the director tomorrow morning. Since you've already spent some time thinking about it, do you think I should mention your input or keep the pitch focused on the core concept?" You are looking for the discrepancy between their words and their body language. The limbic leak. If they have already claimed the idea as their own, the mention of you talking to the director creates an immediate threat response. What to look for? Watch for a compacted lip, pressing the lips together until they disappear, which signifies stress or suppressed information. The micro-expression, look for eye blocking, a long blink or covering the eyes briefly. This is a subconscious attempt to not see the threat you just presented to their lie. Why this works? By offering to give them credit, should I mention your input, you are providing a golden bridge. If they are innocent, they'll likely be happy or indifferent. If they are guilty, the sudden realization that their theft is about to be exposed to a superior will cause a momentary physical freeze or a jerky nervous shift in posture. The truth seek versus the ego feed. In my years of customer service and home installations, I found that you could de-escalate almost any high-noise situation by shifting from a truth seek to an ego feed. If you detect jealousy, you stop the sabotage by validating their status. By saying, "I really value your expertise on this," you flip the threat switch in their brain to safe. You aren't being nice, you are being efficient. This is one of the most practical applications of the conscious phase shift because it moves the theory out of the laboratory and into the high-friction environment of real-world negotiation. In my experience, whether standing in a customer's living room or managing a corporate team, I've seen that once the high noise starts, logic stops. Here is the clinical breakdown of why shifting from a truth seek to an ego feed is a mechanical necessity. The truth seek, the logic trap. A truth seek is an attempt to resolve a conflict using data, facts, and objective reality. The intent: if I show them the evidence, they will see I am right. The result, in high noise: total failure. When a person is in a state of jealousy or status threat, their amygdala has hijacked their neocortex. To them, your truth is not a solution. It is a weapon. If you provide a better fact, you are simply increasing their perceived status loss. You are effectively saying, not only am I right, but you are wrong and less competent than me. This triggers more cortisol, more defensiveness, and eventually, system sabotage. The ego feed, the status reset. An ego feed is a strategic maneuver designed to deactivate the threat response by manually inflating the other person's perceived status. You are providing synthetic status to lower the noise so that productive work can resume. 1. The mechanics of the safe switch. When you say, "I really value your expertise on this," or "I want to make sure I'm seeing this through your lens," you are speaking directly to the limbic system. The shift: you have transformed yourself from a rival, threat, into a student or partner, non-threat. The result: their brain registers a status win. The amygdala stands down, the heart rate drops, and the neocortex, the logical brain, comes back online. 2. Efficiency versus being nice. In the conscious phase shift, we must distinguish between empathy and utility. Being nice implies you're doing this to make them feel better because you care about their feelings. Being efficient means you are doing this because a person in a high-noise state is a broken tool. You cannot finish the installation or marketing campaign if the other human involved is actively sabotaging the gears. By feeding the ego, you are essentially greasing the social interaction. You aren't conceding that they are right. You are merely removing the friction so you can get the result you actually want. Tactical application, the expertise. Pivot. Imagine a customer is yelling about a technical installation. The truth seek, inefficient. Sir, the manual clearly states this is how the signal works. You're incorrect about the wiring. Result, he gets angrier. The ego feed, efficient. You clearly have a sharp eye for how this setup should look. I want to make sure I'm respecting your vision for the space. How would you recommend we bridge this gap? Result, he calms down, feels like a consultant, and lets you do the work. Summary of the tactic. Truth seek equals high frequency, but creates a status crash in the noisy observer. Ego feed equals lowers the noise by providing a status boost, allowing for a phase shift into cooperation. We now move from the how of observation into the why of the human condition. In this section, I take the specific behaviors we develop and analyze them as biological evidence of the conscious phase shift theory. If the first half of the book taught you to see the leaks, this section explains the faulty plumbing that causes them.